We are on Frost, which is the third map. And down here in the lower right, we have aGaham.
And his opponent from Team Fnatic, the blue Protoss player. Spawning at the top right hand side it is Fnatic's Ignite. And aGaham, of course, the Dutch hope. Everybody at home having their Dutch flags out as well as you, right?
Yeah.
Yes, knew it. There we go. You are, of course, watching the Dutch StarCraft League, and there's always a lot of love for the Dutchies, but they have been doing really good. If you haven't watched the past few groups, should have. There's always spots on the YouTube, of course, but a lot of Dutch guys made some impressive results. I actually saw that J-Power advanced over Goody, for example. That was something I was really happy to see. And some other upsets during the line. And in this matchup, though, Patrick, what would you like to see from aGaham? I mean, he's been the discussion point during the last two games because he really decided how those games went because of his actions during the early game.
I would like for him to change his build up a little bit. Certainly on Frost, that's a 4-player map. There is no need to do those roach antics like he did on those 2-player maps. I mean, I understand the reason behind it, the idea of it. Since that's a 2-player map, it's very good for all-ins from the Protoss side of things because he doesn't have to scout your position, and the all-ins, you know, they're so varied and they come so quickly that you can have a lot of problems defending those as a Zerg player. So the best way to prevent an all-in from happening is slow down the infrastructure of the Protoss player before that timing, so the timing is delayed, and that will give you more time to prepare your defenses. But on a 4-player map, I don't see any reason of doing that, and we can already see that aGaham has not taken his gas. He went for a very safe opening with a pull into excuse me, with a pull into a hatchery, so opening gasless for the time being. Again, this feeds very well into roaches or a third base, but were I him, I would take that gas right now. This is especially after he sees... Well, actually, he doesn't see any forge there, so he should know that this is a gateway expansion, and against that you need link speed, just because of the threat of gateway timings.
Yeah, I feel like on this map, though, in PvZ, I've seen so many airplays. Wouldn't be surprised to see that from Ignite, just because it's a very big map, gives you a lot of mobility, gives you map control. So that could be something he wants to aim for. Like you said, you need roach speed, your Zergling speed though. Against the Zealot could be followed up with something like a Stalker, Mothership Core, make a little bit of a push, and that can be really annoying when you've got just slow Zerglings and 3 bases to defend. Especially on a map like this, where the natural and the third base are quite far away from each other, and you can't get enough creep spread fast enough to really defend that.
Yeah, ordinarily you can't, but with the gasless opening you are going to have a lot of queens at your disposal, so aGaham might be able to mitigate that a little bit. And a robo facility goes down here for Ignite.
These Zerglings are actually doing a surprising amount of damage. Yeah, they're getting in.
That was a mistake, letting those links in, because right now aGaham has a good scouting opportunity, and he can even pick off the sentry maybe? No, probably not. He would need a lot more Zerglings, or one more Zergling in order to do that, so that sentry stays alive, but he did scout the Robo, so he might surmise that there is an Immortal Sentry all-in coming, just a little bit quicker than it would off of a Forge expansion, due to the fact that how Ignite opened.
But Ignite wasn't really trying to hide the Robo though, because it's in the front of his base, you know, it's part of his wall, so...
Yeah, he wasn't, but you know, Protosses are just like that. Sometimes they put even Stargates as part of their wall because they don't care. They know the unit is going to do damage anyways, and it's going to get scouted eventually anyways. I mean, this is just kind of showing how confident Ignite is in his execution of the build, not caring one bit if this gets scouted or not.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and he is adding a lot of Immortals right now. Well, the first one is done, the second one is underway. There's also sentries on the production tab, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is some sort of 2-base all-in, and aGaham goes in with an Overlord, just wants to check and double check, and he doesn't see a lot of extra buildings being added on just yet, but this could be very scary early on for him.
Yeah, it could, but you know, those gases at the natural base, they were up very, very quickly. So I don't expect any gateway explosion, or not a big enough gateway explosion to happen just yet. Third Immortal on the way. I think this might be a play for a third base. I'm not entirely sure. I mean,
Could be.
that's a lot of gas banked up by Ignite, though. Those gases were seriously quick. aGaham for the time being. He's got his link speed on the way. He doesn't have a lair yet, but he does have a Roach Warren, and I think he is expecting an attack. He constantly keeps checking for the third base.
Good
for
call.
the move out.
Look at that, Patrick. 4 gateways already underway. The probe is still lingering, so it's gonna be a 6th gateway, at least 6 gates, but it's still lingering there. 7 gateways. He's making a good call, making just units right now, Patrick.
Yeah, he is. 12 links on the way. Some roaches are out already. 11 of them out on the map, but still, the force fields are what is very key with this push. If Ignite gets into a good position and has good enough force fields to kill a sizable chunk of this army before an additional reinforcement spawns from the larvas, then he is going to be in a very good position. Now, I wonder which route Ignite is going to take to engage. Oh, he's taking the better one, because this is less space to manage, and he doesn't have that many sentries with him. So the force field play will be rather limited.
One of the things I really like from aGaham's point of view right now, though, is that he's continuing making the queens, which is going to be so useful, of course, in defending. He's already got 3 queens with his army with a lot of energy to make those transfusions. He's just making more and more queens out of his hatcheries, more Zerglings as well. This is going to be such a great point for him to defend. I don't think that Ignite can break this with the amount of Zerglings and queens that are there. I mean, the roaches, there's not that many of them. It's going to be very hard. He needs
You know what?
good force fields.
You know what? Never say never. He initially he had only 3 or 4 sentries, but he kept warping in more. That's what the early gases were for. And now he's got so many force fields that aGaham is almost going to need a full surround on that army to bring it down, and he's only staying on one side. He's not splitting his army up. He's not trying to circle around the Protoss player, which you know, he could try and go behind the minerals and get to the back of the Protoss army that way. And
but here we go, Patrick, and that surround is actually pretty good from the Zerglings, and sure, the force fields are good, but this is doing a lot of damage, picking up at least 3 sentries there already, and the supplies, that was pretty okay, but this is not, though. aGaham gets a lot of his army cut off by the force fields. Good second round of force fields, and this is losing him a lot here, Patrick.
Yeah, and the roaches in the north have not been fired. They haven't even fired off a shot, because the force fields did not ever allow those roaches to close in the distance to the army. So, as we said before, force fields are key in these engagements, and right now aGaham hugely on the back foot. If we take a look at the resources lost, it's 1,000 to 3,000. The Protoss tripling in effectiveness here, and right now his army supply is 79 to 46. aGaham needs to pull probes with this if he wants to defend, and he won't have the time. Ignite closing out the series with a good old Immortal Sentry all in, baby.